What's up, guys? Welcome back to SPL Society. Back in the shop today. I let my cells balance overnight. This bank's sitting at 3.27. This one's sitting at 3.29. I'm gonna go ahead and stand the cells up, and then I'll check each individual cell and see if I've got one that's low or one that's high, and just make sure, double check that they're all balanced out. Let's go ahead and pull the top plate off, and we'll check each cell individually. Guys, so I pulled the bus bar off of one, checked the cells, they were all identical down to a millivolt. So what I'm doing now, this one was 2.74 and I believe this one was 2.91, somewhere around there. So I just took some speaker wire and I connected the positive on this side to the positive on that side. I connected the negative on this side to the negative on that side, and that's going to balance these 40 cells to these 40 cells. So we'll leave it on here for a few hours and check the voltage as we go. Got Darian over here working on some fuse blocks. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump between working on the amp rack, welding up the amp rack, and I need to check the belt on the alternator setup. The belt that I got was made for stock alternators. Obviously I have two aftermarket alternators, so the pulleys are smaller, so I needed a shorter belt. So I got two different belts. I need to check and make sure that either of them work. So probably going to start on the amp rack first, and then I'll jump over here and just keep running a time lapse and let you guys see what I'm doing. So we'll check in with you in a little bit. I'd say that's a success. The kit came with a 123-inch belt. I have one stock alternator and two aftermarket alternators, so I had to go with a 120 and 7/8. Everything lines up great. Belt's nice and tight with a stock tensioner. Tensioner has room to tension, which is important. Now all I have to do is just wire in the regulators and test the voltage from there, and so far so good. So we'll go ahead and start wiring the regulators to a 12-volt ignition source so that the regulators turn off when the truck turns off. Once I do that, I need to keep it disconnected until I have the battery bank in the back, because if you excite the alternator and it doesn't have a load connected to it, like a battery or whatnot, you could burn up your regulators. So I'm going to go ahead and do the wiring, but I'm not going to hook it up. And once I get my battery bank finished, I'll put it back there and we can test the alternators and make sure that they're working correctly. So now that I have the bracket done, got the belt on, and I know that the belt's nice and tight, I can do the wiring for the regulators on the alternators. As you can see, I have a relay. This is my 12-volt ignition source. The other side of that's going to go to ground right here on the alternator. And then I have a power source that'll go right to the stud of the alternator, and then out of this relay I'll go to this yellow wire and this yellow wire, and what that connects to is the load terminal on the alternator. I have to add a 470 ohm resistor, and what that's going to do is put a load on the regulator, and the alternator will excite. I'm going to wait to do that until I have the lithium bank in the back, because if you send 12 volts to your regulator and you don't have a load on the alternator, you could burn the alternator up. So for now, I'm just going to wait until the battery bank's done and get back to work on the amp rack.